maybe the best way to define radical candor is to say what it's not. So very often we do challenge directly, but we forget to show that we care personally. And that I call obnoxious aggression. When I first started writing the book, I called that the asshole quadrant. And I stopped doing that for a very important reason, because when I did it, people would use the radical candor framework and they would start writing names in boxes. And I beg of you, please don't do that with the radical candor ideas. This is not like another Myers-Briggs personality test. Use radical candor as like a compass to drive conversations to a better place. Okay, so obnoxious aggression is what happens when you challenge, but you forget to show that you care. Now, very often when we realize we've been a jerk, rather than moving the right direction on the care personally dimension of radical candor, we go the wrong way on challenge directly. And we say, oh, I didn't really mean it. It doesn't really matter. But of course, I did mean it, and it does matter. And then we wind up in the worst place of all, manipulative insincerity. And that's where backstabbing behavior, the false apology, political behavior, passive-aggressive behavior kind of creeps into the workplace. And it's fun to tell stories about obnoxious aggression and manipulative insincerity, because that's where kind of the office drama takes place. But the fact of the matter is, the vast majority of people make the vast majority of mistakes in this third area, which is where we do show that we care personally because we're nice people. But because we're so afraid of hurting somebody's feelings, we don't tell them something they'd be better off knowing. And we don't challenge directly. And then that's what I call ruinous empathy. And that's the most common mistake of all.
So with ruinous empathy, every time I think about this one, I always think about like week one of American Idol. And it's when they have all the contestants on, and it's largely, people are laughing at them. They're like generally not very good singers and so on. And I always thought watching that, I'm thinking, no one ever told these people, right? That perhaps like maybe they had room for improvement and that they could hone their craft, or maybe that they weren't they weren't destined to be a great singer. And because of that, here they are on stage, week one American Idol, and you've got the country laughing at them. And it's interesting because like you said, so many people fall into like the trap of ruinous empathy where they do care personally about someone, and they feel like that because I care personally, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Why do you believe that's so common, and what's a way around that?
Well, I think it's common because, like for many things, we have a negativity bias. We tend to learn lessons from making mistakes, and so we tend to focus more on mistakes than on what works. And I think this is especially true when it comes to social interactions. So we pay attention to the sort of mistakes that we make more than the successes, actually. Most often, when you offer radical candor instead of ruinous empathy to someone, when you tell someone, hey, stick with your day job or get some singing lessons or whatever, then it worked. People appreciate it. 9 times out of 10, people actually really appreciate radical candor. But 1 time out of 10, you will have a radical candor train wreck. And you'll tell somebody something and you'll mean it well, and you'll maybe even say it really nicely, and the person will be enraged at you. And very often, I think we optimize for the 1 time out of 10. We optimize for the radical. We're very conservative, and we're unwilling to make a mistake. So I think that's part of it. I also think part of it is that we optimize for short term rather than long term. In the short term, when you tell somebody something that stings a little bit in the moment, it stings a little bit in the moment, even if it's in their long-term best interest to know. We hate to see that short-term sting. So very often what's right in front of our faces looms so much larger than what's just a mile down the road.